All right, welcome to lesson 2.2 about if-else statements. Let me share my screen. And here we go, lesson 2.2, if-else statements. So the objective of this lesson is that students will write conditional execution code using logical operators and or not, and conditional statements. If else or if, elif, else. So chapter 5 of the textbook Think Python talks about conditionals and recursion. We're talking about conditionals here. So Boolean expressions. Once again, Boolean and computer speak means true, false. Logical values, right? True or false. So here's some Boolean expressions in Boolean operators in Python and other languages right here. Okay. So have a little practice here. Just take a minute or two to just do this, just to type these in, or if you want to copy this straight from the lesson plan, that's totally fine. Just see how these react, just to double check your understanding of these things. And some of these will probably be new. These aren't common in math. The double equal sign there, the exclamation point equal sign there, and those other four should be pretty understandable, pretty transparent. Okay, so just pause the video for a minute or two and just run these in a Python console just to see what happens and try and figure out what these things mean. Okay, ready, set, pause. Okay, so let's take a look. Welcome back. Let's take a look here. If I just copy that little 5 greater than sign 8. If I jump back over to here, open up a Python console window, tool windows, Python console, and I'm already there, okay. And paste in that. So 5 greater than 8, that's false, meaning 5 greater than 8 is false. That's not the case. So we got false, right? Okay, what does this mean? 5 exclamation point equals 8. That gives us true. So what this exclamation point equal sign means, it means is not equal to. So the way you might read this in English is 5 not equal to 8? That's true. That's why we get true there as the return value. We do 5.7 less than or equal to 8. Now I would expect this to be true. Yep, because 5.7 is less than or equal to 8. That is true. So we get true back. Do the next one here. 7 is greater than or equal to 7. This should be also true. And indeed it is, right? So the way you read this is 7 greater than or equal to 7. That's true. And then this one here, the double equal sign should give us false. Yeah, because this is saying is 9 equal to 9.02. That's false. No, that's not the case. So the double equal sign, that's probably a new logical operator. That means is equal to. Is the left thing equal to the right thing? Are they identical? So 9 is not equal to, not the same thing as 9.02. Okay, so that's what those Boolean operators are. These are very useful in the context of if-else statements. Okay. But those were just with numbers, right? We just had numbers, both ints and floats. Once again, the integers are whole numbers like 5 and 8, whereas the floats have decimal points. Okay. Now let's look at how these operators, these Boolean operators, work with strings. That is data of variable type, excuse me, a value type string. Okay, so let's take a look here. I'm just going to go ahead and copy single quote A less than single quotes B. Copy that, bring it over to my Python console, paste it in, Control V, enter. And it says true. Okay, so A is less than B. What does that mean? That equals true. How about I go this way? I'll do this. F greater than Y, both between single quotes. That gives me false. Okay, so going back here, A less than B is true. F greater than Y is false. So what this is doing is it's saying in alphabetical order, does A come before B? That's true. Does F come after? So the greater than sign here means after. So does F come after Y? No, that's false. That's why we got true here with A less than B, but we got false with F greater than Y. Okay, let's try this. This, what do you predict? Apple less than or equal to banana. I predict that that is going to be true because A, apple, comes before B in banana. Yep, that's true. Okay. So we got greater than or equal to. Let me do this here. Is orange equal to naranja in Spanish? This should be false because it's looking at characters, right? It's not doing any semantic analysis. The naranja was just for fun. So orange equals naranja. That's false because this string does not equal that string over there. Let me try this. This lanky does not equal tall. Once again, we're looking at the characters here. That is true because these 5 letters are not identical to these 4 letters, right? So that exclamation point equal sign means not equal to. So if I say, is lanky not equal to tall? That's true. And then antelope. So here we have 2 letters that are 2 words that start with A. So what do you think is going to happen? Well, it's going to go to the next letter, the second letter in each word, and compare those letters. So the 2 A's are the same, but then it goes to the N in antelope and says, is N greater than, that is, comes after in the alphabet, L, the L of alpaca. That should be true. Let's try that. Yeah, true. Okay. So we just need to be aware that with strings, you can use these logical Boolean operators to compare position in the alphabet in alphabetical order. Or you can do it equal to, like, are they identical? Or exclamation point equal sign, are they not identical? They're not the same. Okay. Now, once again, if we have a tie, like the 2 A's in antelope and alpaca, it'll look at the next letter. Okay. I should point out that uppercase and lowercase letters are considered to be different by the computer. So lowercase tall, when I ask, is lowercase tall equal to uppercase tall? It says no, that's not the case. So that's a really important point here, that computers consider lowercase letters in English and other Romanized alphabets to be different from uppercase letters. Okay. Or other languages that use the Roman alphabet. Okay. All right, let's look at some logical operators. We have 2 or 3 here, and, or, and not. These are special keywords in Python. And their meaning is pretty darn similar to their meaning in English. Okay, and they're used in conditional execution when we have if-else statements. We'll see here in a second. Okay, I'm not gonna say anything more. They're pretty darn transparent on what they mean in Python because they just follow the meaning in English. All right, let's try some, the main event here is conditional execution and alternative execution. These are technical terms for conditional statements or control flow or simply if-else statements. So let's look at an example here from the book. Let's see an example in section 5.4. Let me just open up the book here and look. All right, so here we have an example. It says if x is greater than 0, colon, new line, indentation, print x is positive. So this right here is the conditional statement that is evaluated, and it returns either true or false. And if it returns true, then this line is run. If this conditional statement up here returns false, then this line is not run. Okay. So that's called conditional execution. In technical terms, it's just simply the if statement. Alternative execution is the else statement. So let's look at this. Here's the conditional statement, all of this right here that I have highlighted. X %, which is the modulus operator. The technical term means if you take X and you divide it by 2, is the remainder of that division equal to 0? If that returns true, if this statement returns true because I am dividing by 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, etc., any even number, then this will run. This line will run. It will print X is even. But if this conditional statement returns false, then it'll jump down to the else statement here, and it will run this line, X is odd. So that's what alternative execution refers to, is running the else statement. Okay. Now you can also chain conditionals together. Okay, so here is a longer conditional statement. We have the first conditional statement here with if X is less than Y, do this. If X is less than Y returns false, it'll jump down to this line and evaluate its conditional statement. It'll say, is X greater than Y? If that is true, it'll run the next line down and say X is greater than Y. But if the second conditional statement results in false, returns a false Boolean value, it'll jump down to this else block and run this code. It'll print X and Y are equal. And so elif right there, that keyword elif is a shortened version of else if. Okay. So once again, if we say, if this is true, do this. But if this is false, come down here and evaluate this with the elif statement. And if that's true, then run that line. But if that's false, then run this block down here. Okay. So it's pretty logical. Just, if this is the case, do that. If not, do this. But you can also put some additional if else statements in the else. And you can chain these for a long time. Actually, in your first homework assignment, you'll probably need to use elif, quite a few elifs. And here's, for example, here we have chained elifs going on here. You can nest conditionals as well. Evaluate this. If this is true, do that. If this up here is false, jump down here and then do this. Evaluate this statement and do that if it's true. Otherwise, do that. Okay. So it's not hard to process. You go else if this is true, do that. If not, do that. And just you got to keep track of what's going on where. I will point out that at the end of a conditional statement, you have to put a colon. And then the next line down, it has to be indented. Indentation is contrastive or important in Python. In other programming languages, indentation is not contrastive. It just simply is nice for the human to be able to make sense of the hierarchy of the code. But in Python, it is contrastive, meaning it's important. It's not just extra niceties. It's you have to have indentation after an if or an elif or an else, like they have here with each of these statements. Okay. So let's jump back to the lesson plan. Let's practice here. Create a program that asks the user for a number between 1 and 10 and prints back to the user one of two messages stating whether the number is less than 5 or greater than or equal to 5. Okay. And here's a hint. You will have to use the int function to change the input from data type string to integer. So when you ask the user for input with the int or the input function, it comes in as a string. So you'll need, even if they enter like 3, Arabic numeral 3, it'll come in as a string. So you have to force it over to an integer with that int function there. Okay. So go ahead and pause the video and take a few minutes to try to get this program working. Okay. And ready, set, pause. All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at one way to approach this. And I would approach this way. I'm going to jump over to PyCharm. and open up my little solutions file that I've created to do this type of thing. Let me just grab that and jump it, bring it over to here. Let me grab that again. Copy that over into here. Okay, so here is one approach you can take to this problem. Once again, we're looking at creating a program that asks the user for a number between 1 and 10 and prints back to the user one of two messages stating whether the number is less than 5 or greater than or equal to 5. We're just starting with very simple things here with numbers just to get a feel for if else. So on line 3 of my code here, what I do first is just get some input. I say, give me a number between 1 and 10, please. I save the input as the variable number. And then I convert from type string to type integer with the int function. We saw in the past the str function, which converts a number into a string, whether it's an integer or a float, into a string. Now we're seeing the reverse. Well, one of the ways to go back to a number is to take a string and make it into an integer. And then in line 5, we do have a conditional statement. If number is less than 5, colon. On line 6, we have an indentation. Print out the number you gave me is less than 5. But if this conditional statement evaluates to false, it'll jump down to the else and print this. The number you gave me is greater than or equal to 5. Okay, so let's just try this. I'm going to run this. I'm going to use a keyboard shortcut to run this little bit of code. And down here in the console it says, give me a number between 1 and 10. So I'll give it, how about 3? I push enter. And it says the number you gave me is less than 5. Indeed, it is. Let me run it again just for fun. Run this little script. Let me give it 8 or give it 9. It says the number you gave me is greater than or equal to 5. Let me give it 5. I'll run it again. Run it again. I'll give it the number 5 this time. I'm going to click down with my mouse. 5. Enter. And yeah, the number you gave me is greater than or equal to 5. So that worked. If you had a problem getting this type of program to work, go ahead and stop the video and look at my code. I also will have my solution file on the CMS, the course management system. Okay. All right, let's jump back over to the lesson plan. We have another thing. It says modify the previous program so that the program prints back to the user one of 3 messages: less than, equal to, or greater than 5. Okay, so pause the video and try that for a few minutes. Modify your previous script to get it to print this. Ready, set, pause. All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at how you can approach this. Let me grab the solution file that I've created, a little program to do this. Okay, so let's just walk through the code again. Line 3, we get input from the user, a number between 1 and 10. Line 4, we change it or we convert it from a string into an integer data type so the computer can do comparisons between the integer 5 and what the user gave. So here we have if number is less than 5, colon, indentation. The number you gave me is less than 5. Elif, so if this evaluates to false, it'll jump down to this line and evaluate the conditional statement right here. Number is equal to 5. If that's true, it'll say the number you gave me is equal to 5. That is, it's 5. But if this conditional statement evaluates to false, it'll jump down to this line and print out line 10. The number you gave me is greater than 5. Okay, so let's give this a try. I'm just going to run this code with this keyboard shortcut. And I will give it, first of all, click down here with my mouse in the console. I'll give it number 1, enter. And it says the number you gave me is less than 5. Indeed, it is. Let me run that again. And I will give it the number 5 exactly this time. Number 5. It says the number you gave me is equal to 5. That is, it's 5. I'll run it again, just double check it's working. And I'll give it the number 6. The number you gave me is greater than 5. Yep, that's right. So go ahead and pause the video if you need to figure out, to get your code working. If you want to look at the way I did it, or once again, you can look at the solution file in the CMS. Ready, set, pause if you need to. Okay, let's jump over here back to this lesson plan. It says modify the previous program so that the message printed back to the user indicates whether the number is between 1 and 3, between 4 and 6, or between 7 and 10. Okay. And you will likely need the and logical operator in your conditional statement. Okay. See if you can do that. So take a few minutes here to see if you can modify your program to get it to print out one of those three statements, on whether it's between, the number they give you is between 1 and 3, or between 4 and 6, or between 7 and 10. Okay, ready, set, pause. All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at how I would approach this, or how I did approach this when I wrote the solution file. Let me just grab this little bit of code and pull it over to my little sandbox. Copy that into here. Let's look through the logic of the code and then we'll run it. So once again, the same thing on line 3, we're getting input. Line 4, we're changing into an integer again. Then here, line 5 is new. So we say, if the number is greater than or equal to 1, and the number is less than or equal to 3, colon, indentation, print that out. But if that's false, come down here and evaluate this. And this says, if the number is greater than or equal to 4, and the number is less than or equal to 6, then print this statement out on line 8. But if that evaluates to false, if this conditional statement evaluates to false, come down to this line and evaluate its conditional statement. And then this says, if the number is greater than or equal to 7, and that number is also less than or equal to 10, then print that fact out to the user with the code on line 10. And then I have a final else statement that says, if none of these statements evaluate to true, it'll jump down here and say, you didn't give me a number between 1 and 10. What's up with that? Make things lively here. So let's give this a try. I'm going to run this code. And I'll just go ahead and give it a 2, and it should print that out. 2, the number you gave me is between 1 and 3. Indeed it is. Let me try it again. I'll give it a 4 this time. Right on that border. But yeah, it says, yeah, it's between 4 and 6. Correct. And I'll try it again. I'll give it whatever. I'll give it 10. The number you gave me is between 7 and 10. Nice. I'm going to run it again a 4th time and give it a number. I'll give it 11. So it's outside of the range. And this should say, yeah, it says you didn't give me a number between 1 and 10. What's up with that? Okay. So it's going through and evaluating the number and printing out the corresponding print statement, depending on which one of these things evaluates to true, or if none of them evaluate to true, it comes down here and prints out this one. Again, if you'd like to pause the video and look at my code and get your code working like this is important fundamental concept. If you are having trouble with if-else statements or if-elif else statements, you really need to get that down. Like I mentioned, homework 1, you need to use if and elif and else statements. Okay, so go ahead and pause if you need to. All right, let's take a look. This says, create a program that asks the user for his or her 2 favorite fruits and prints the message stating whether the first fruit given by the user comes before or after the second one in a dictionary. That is in alphabetical order. Okay, so we're going to jump away from numbers now into characters, into words, right? Strings. And you're going to have to use the logical operators as well. But see if you can do this. Okay, once again, you're going to create a program that asks the user for his or her 2 favorite fruits, and then prints a message stating whether the first fruit given by the user comes before or after the second one in the dictionary in an alphabetical order. Okay, so ready, set, pause. Okay, welcome back. Let's take a look at the way I'd approach this little script. Let me just copy from the solution file that I put up on the CMS. I'll walk through it. Okay, so we get some input. Fruit 1, input, please give me a fruit. Fair enough. Line 4, fruit 2. Now give me another fruit. Terrific. Okay. And then here on line 5, I do a conditional statement. I say if fruit 1 is equal to, make sure you're looking at the fact that there are 2 equal signs there in a row. If fruit 1 is equal to fruit 2, say, hey, you gave me the same fruit, silicons or whatever. If that evaluates to false, meaning they gave you different fruits, then, and you say, okay, elif, fruit 1 is less than fruit 2. That is, does fruit 1 come before fruit 2 in alphabetical order? Then you can say that. Say the first fruit you gave me, you can even do some string interpolation here and report the fruit back to the user what they gave. Comes before the second one, report that fruit right here on line 8 in a dictionary in alphabetical order. But if this conditional statement evaluates to false, it'll jump down to the else statement and run this one. It says the first fruit you gave me, whatever it is, comes after the second one you gave me in a dictionary. Okay, so let's run this. I'm going to run this keyboard shortcut. And I'll just say apple. I'm going to go ahead and put apple in twice just to see if that first block works. Let me see, what did I just do? Let me run that again. We'll just start with the difference here. A different fruit. So I'm going to do apple, banana. It says the first fruit you gave me, apple, comes before the second one, banana, in the dictionary. Let me run that again and try. I'll try orange. I'll put your cursor down here. Orange and mango. So this should say that the first fruit you gave me, orange, comes after the second one, mango, in the dictionary. Now let me try if I give it the same fruit twice. Let me see what was going on there. Apple. Apple. Okay, so you gave me the same fruit, silicons. When I ran it originally, I'm not sure if I maybe put a space in or something to make it think they were different, but yeah, it says you get the same fruit, silicons. So that's how you can do that. You could use, once again, the idea is you can use these logical operators with strings. And less than means before in alphabetical order. Greater than means after in alphabetical order. So if you'd like to pause the video and make your script work, looking at what I've done here, you can pause it now. Okay, good. Let's continue here. You can chain conditionals with the elif, like we just did a bit there. And I think I already showed you an example in 5.6. 5.6, yeah, I just showed you this chained conditional statement with the elif there. They have some examples here. Okay, so let's practice here. Let's see if you can modify the previous program so that the program asks the user for only one fruit, and the message printed back to the user indicates if the fruit given by the user falls between guava and passion fruit in a dictionary. Okay, so you're going to need to use and elif. And here's a little bonus thing. If you want to soup up your program a bit, you can modify your program so that if the user gives exactly guava or passion fruit, the message states that. But don't worry about that for the moment. Just try this. Modify the previous program so that the program asks the user for only one fruit, and the message printed back to the user indicates if that fruit given by the user falls between guava and passion fruit in the dictionary. Okay, so take a few minutes here. Ready, set, pause. All right, welcome back. Let's take a look at how you could approach this, how I approached it. Let me go ahead and just grab a little solution file there. Okay, so what we're doing here is on line 3, we're getting input. It says, please give me a fruit from the user. We're saving it as the variable fruit for transparency purposes. Line 4, we're saying, okay, if fruit is greater than guava and fruit is less than passion fruit, then print out this message, which says the fruit you gave me falls between guava and passion fruit. But if that is not the case, we jump down here and say, is fruit less than guava? Does fruit come before guava in the dictionary? If that's true, then it'll say the fruit you gave me comes before guava in the dictionary. But if this evaluates to false, then it'll jump down here and say the fruit you gave me comes after the passion fruit in the dictionary. So let's give this a try. I'm going to go ahead and run this script, keyboard shortcut here. And I will just go ahead and give it orange. And it says the fruit you gave me falls between guava and passion fruit. Yep, the O of orange comes before the P of passion fruit, right? LMNOP, yep. Had to drop my kindergarten song there. Let me just run this again. And let me give it something that falls outside of that range. Let me give it banana. That should fall before guava. Yep, the fruit you gave me comes before guava in the dictionary. It does indeed. Run it again, keyboard shortcut. And I will give it something that comes on the right side, or comes after passion fruit, watermelon. And it says the fruit you gave me comes after passion fruit in the dictionary. Yep, that is correct. Okay. And then let me show you the little bonus thing. I talked about a little bonus thing. If the user actually gives you guava or passion fruit, you should state that. This is a little bonus thing. If you had a hard time understanding what we just did, then don't sweat this. But here's a little bonus. Let's take a look at how you could do that. Let me grab that and bring it into here. And do an elif here. So what I'm doing is I'm modifying my program a bit. So I'm saying, okay, if fruit is equal to passion, or if fruit is equal to guava, or fruit is equal to passion fruit, then state that to the user with a print statement. Say how coincidental. But if that's not the case, then do an elif and just do the program we just created beforehand. Just do the regular thing we just did a second ago. But I had to add the el before the if to change the if to an elif right there after I pasted this lines 5 and 6 above. Let me just test it real quick. I'm going to run this little script. I'm just going to give it guava. Oh, I have two. Okay, you see what's happening here? I have two fruit statements. Let me just stop that real quick. And you can stop a script in PyCharm with this stop sign with your mouse on the left side, that little red square. Let me just get rid of one of these. I don't need two of those input statements there. Let me just get rid of that. Okay. Run that again. Let me give it guava. And it says, yeah, you gave me guava or passion fruit. How coincidental. Let me just run it again real quick and not give it one of those. Let me just give it mango. Yeah, mango falls between G and P. Okay. So that is a good introduction to if-else statements, conditional execution in Python. And that is lesson 2.2. All right, that's the end of lesson 2.2. Thank you so much. See you next time.